My dad used to go out Claysville, I think it was, Pennsylvania. They used to have an auction out there. So he'd go out to that auction all the time and then come home late at night. One night he was driving from Wheeling toward Wellsburg, and he picked up a hitchhiker. And this song is called The Stranger. And it's one of the few songs that I wrote. Late one evening, driving home from Wheeling, my daddy saw a hitchhiker on River Road. So he pulled up and rolled down his window, asked him if he wanted a ride. The stranger got in and thanked Daddy for giving him a lift. As they started driving, they talked about the weather, a lot of other stuff. But then the stranger started talking about the Bible. He asked Daddy if he knew the Lord. He looked right at my dad and said, "Your time is a-ticking. It's headed toward midnight. You've only got this one life. Tell me, who are you serving? No one's deserving of the love and grace of God. Better get yourself ready. Jesus is knocking. One way or another, you're gonna meet him when you die." So they kept driving northward through Beach Bottom all the way to Wellsburg. When they got to Wellsburg, Daddy pulled over and let the stranger out. But when he turned around to wave goodbye to the stranger, he couldn't believe his eyes. The stranger was gone. Dad kept driving around looking for him. He just disappeared. He doesn't know where he went. But he could remember one thing. That's what the stranger told him. Your time is a-ticking. It's headed toward midnight. You've only got this one life. Tell me, who are you serving? No one's deserving of the love and grace of God. You better get yourself ready. Jesus is knocking. One way or another, you're gonna meet him when you die. Well, Dad wasn't much for religion. He was a good man. Never went to church, though. He always helped people, put on roofs for them, and didn't make hardly any money at it. He would put in furnaces, didn't make much money at that. About the only thing he considered a big night out was going fishing or hunting. Then on Tuesday, the Ruthie Caswell invited Daddy to a revival at the church. The church was filled with people. Everyone was singing. The Spirit was so thick, he cut it with a knife. The preacher started preaching, and Daddy started sweating, sitting on the edge of the pew. When the invitation was given, Daddy went forward and got down on his knee. Then Daddy started praying, then he started crying. Later on he told us what the stranger said. Your time is a-ticking. It's headed toward midnight. You've only got this one life. Tell me, who are you serving? No one's deserving of the love and grace of God. You better get yourself ready. Jesus is a-knocking. One way or another, you're gonna meet him when you die. After that, my dad was a changed person. Every time the church doors was open, he was there, smiling, laughing. He was like a new person. But 3 months later, Dad was headed back to Wheeling, this time in an ambulance. My mama, she was praying. All of us were crying. Lord, please don't let Daddy die. But Daddy, he was ready. He knew his time was coming. And I still remember what the stranger said. Your time is a-ticking. It's headed toward midnight. You've only got this one life. Tell me, who are you serving? No one's deserving of the love and grace of God. But you gotta get yourself ready, 'cause Jesus is knocking. One way or another, you're gonna meet him when you die.